In part 1, you built the foundation: reminders for action, notes for information, and calendar for time. But here's the problem. If capturing a thought takes 5 taps, or planning your day takes an hour, the reality is you won't do it. This system only works if it's effortless. And that's what we're fixing today with the use of automation, time blocking, and a weekly review. Stick around to the end. I'll show you a bonus shortcut that makes weekly planning way faster, especially if you use a Mac. First things first, let's start with automation. Right now, capturing a thought means you have to open an app, navigate to the right spot, type in your information, and save it. That's way too many steps. We could do better than that. With shortcuts, one tap and it's captured. We're going to build a few shortcuts together. Quick capture for reminder, brain dump for multiple tasks, and a quick note for information gathering. These shortcuts are going to help remove friction and make the system effortless. Before we create our first automation, first we need to make sure that you have the Shortcuts app on your device. Open your app library and search for shortcuts. For some reason, if you don't see it, open the App Store, search for shortcuts, and download it. Don't worry, it's free and it's made by Apple. All right, let's build the quick capture shortcut. This captures a thought straight to your reminders inbox with one tap. To get started, we're going to open up the Shortcuts app, and on the top, we're going to hit the plus icon. Now in the area here where it says search actions, we're going to search for the action ask for input. We're going to click that and drag that over to the left-hand side of the screen. Now the area here where it has prompt, we're going to type in what do we want this reminder to do for us. In our case, we want it to ask us a question. So we're going to type in that question that we want to be asked. In this case, it's going to be, what do we want to be reminded of? Once we enter that, we're going to go back to the search actions area again, and we're going to type in reminders. Now what you're going to see here is once we type in reminders, a lot of options are going to come up, and we're going to select the one to add a new reminder. So same process, we'll click and drag that over to the left-hand side of the screen. Now in our case, the very first part of this area where it has the reminder slightly shaded, we're going to click into that, and at the bottom of the screen we're going to get a pop-up with a couple things that we can select. In our case, we want to pick the one that says ask for input, and that's going to connect the information from what we entered earlier into this one. And you can see here they're connected with this little line now connecting those two blocks. Okay, so now we want to make sure we have this going into the right inbox for us for reminders. So if you wanted to change that box, that next area here is where you would do that. But in our case, it was already set to inbox, so we're good to go. At this point, this shortcut is actually completed. So what we're going to do is we're going to rename this one Quick Capture. I have mine named Demo, but in your case, just name yours Quick Capture. And it's ready to be tested. And you do that by hitting the play button. So as you can see here, it comes up with our prompt question. What do we want to be reminded of? I just typed in buy groceries, and you can see here it shows that it has actually completed that shortcut being run. And we can see buy groceries. So it's nice that it works in here. So we can see that it actually did test it. But now we want to actually go to reminders and verify that that reminder is where we want it to be. And lo and behold, it's in our inbox. Now let's make this even easier. You're going to open your shortcut, tap the 3 dots in the top right, tap the info icon next to the name, and tap add to home screen. Now to make this a little bit more visual for you, you can change the icon and name if you want. Now it's on your home screen right there, one tap away. Anytime you have a thought and you don't want to forget it, tap it, type it, done. It's in your inbox and your mind is clear. And that right there is the power of removing friction. All right, let's build another one. This one is called brain dump. Sometimes you have multiple tasks all hitting you at once, and you don't want to have to tap quick capture 5 times if you have 5 different things pop into your head. Brain dump lets you write everything down, and it splits it into separate reminders for you. Let's get started. Okay, to get this one started, we're going to add another shortcut. For search actions, we're going to ask for input again. Click and drag that over. And this time for the prompt, we're going to enter brain dump. After doing that, you want to hit the arrow to the right and make sure allow multiple lines is selected. This is what's going to allow us to enter more than one thing at once. So we'll go back to search actions and we're going to look for split text. And we'll click and drag that over and put that under the previous block. We're going to go back to search actions and we're going to do a search for repeat with each. And we want to bring that over. Now we want to do another search action, and this time you want to type in reminders, and you're going to pick the option for new reminder, and you want to drag that in between where it says repeat with each and end repeat. Okay, now in our reminder block, we want to hit that lightly shaded area that has reminder, click that, and we want to select the repeat item block from the bottom of the screen. And this one is already set up to go to the correct area, our inbox, so this automation is ready to test. Now I'm going to pause here and switch views a little bit so that way you can see this one running side by side. So now we're going to go ahead and hit the play button to start this automation. Now when this text box pops up, we're going to enter our list of things we want to be reminded of and click done. And once again, we're going to head over to our reminders, look at our inbox, and all 4 are there, each as a separate reminder. Okay, we're going to add this one to our home screen as well, but I'll show you this time how to customize it. So when this pops up, you can go right under that text area and you could type in whatever you want to say. So we'll call this one brain dump. And for this color palette, brain, we'll just pick pink. And then for the symbol, I'm actually going to type in brain here, just get an icon close to what we're looking for to show up. And then now once we add it to the home screen, there it is. How cool is that one? One brain dump system organized for you. Now let's build one for notes. This one captures information, not tasks. So we're going to start by creating a new shortcut again. Okay, we're going to start this the exact same way. So add another shortcut and we're going to ask for input. And this time for the prompt, you want to type in, what do you want to remember? We're going to hit the arrow and make sure allow multiple lines is selected. And then you want to search for an action to create a note. Now in the beginning of this one, you want to click the option for ask for input. And you're going to see that those 2 are connected again. And as far as the location, we're going to pick our notes inbox. Now this one, what I like to do is I like to name it quick note. You'll see why here in a little bit. And now it's time to test this one. So we'll hit the play button again. We have a prompt. What do we want to remember? And we're going to enter our list. So in our case, we're going to say, hey, mom's favorite restaurant is Luigi's. She likes patio seating and she loves to order pasta. So we'll enter those details. There it is. With one tap, we've captured all that information. And of course, you know, tasks go to reminders and information goes to notes. So now you have shortcuts that work for both. So these are 3 simple automations that remove all the friction from capturing your thoughts. Now let's take a second and talk about time block. In part 1, we said calendars is for commitments and reminders is for tasks. That's still true for our foundation, but now you're ready for the next level, and that is time blocking. Time blocking is when you schedule your task into your calendar. You're not just hoping you're going to get things done. You start protecting time to actually do them. The difference is I should work on that project versus I'm working on that project Tuesday at 2:00 p.m. It's a great way to keep you honest about what you can actually accomplish in a day. So we have to prioritize, protect our time, and say no to distractions. Now, I want you to keep this in mind as we build out your weekly review. Now, the weekly review is one of the most important habits in this entire system. Without doing a weekly review, it's very easy for things to pile up, your inbox to get cluttered, and tasks to get forgotten. I like to do mine every Sunday, beginning of the week, and it takes about 30 minutes. Let me walk you through it. We're going to open notes and look at our inbox. At this point, we want to file every single note or delete it. We also want to look and see if there are any tasks that might be hidden inside a note. Remember, we need to move those tasks to reminders. The goal here is to make sure we file things in the appropriate location. Now we're going to do a very similar process, but for our reminders. So let's go ahead and open our reminders inbox. Every reminder in here needs to go somewhere. If it's a personal task, let's move it to personal. And if it's work related, let's move it over to work. Now, let's say you capture something and it's not actionable. At this point, you could delete it. Or if it needs more information, create a note with the details. Your inbox should be empty when you're done with this step. Now that we've emptied the inbox and it's clear, we actually need to open up each list. So we have reminders, personal, work, and home. For each task, we need to ask ourselves, hey, is this thing still relevant? Can I do it this week? Does it need a due date? This is also a great time to be honest with yourself. If you've been ignoring a task for 3 weeks, you either need to do it now or delete it. Now we're going to look at the week ahead. What meetings do we have? What appointments? What other commitments do we have on our calendar? Now let's go ahead and look at our reminders and figure out what tasks do we have to get done this week. And this is where we're going to time block. Now, depending on how many tasks you have, you want to pick 2 or 3 for each day that you're going to get done. You're going to open your calendar and create events for each task and block the time that you need to complete that task. And our last and final step is to look at the previous week. We're going to look at what we accomplished and what were the things that we didn't get done. We have to figure out if we were realistic with the time that we set apart for ourselves, or perhaps some urgent things came up and took over our day. And we want to look at what can we adjust for this upcoming week. We want to keep it simple here, just the facts. So what worked, what didn't work, and what do we need to change? Now, in part 3 of this video series, we're going to add journal to this so that way you can start to capture those feelings behind those facts. But right now, I just want you to look at the data and make those adjustments. So if you've been following along, you've been noticing how important this weekly review is, and we want to make sure we don't miss any steps. So to help us out, we're going to create a reminder to help us keep track of things and stay consistent. Okay, to get this one started, you want to head over to your reminders and create a new reminder that we're going to call weekly review. Now you want to tap the eye icon and you want to set the date as well as the time that you want this particular review to repeat. So we're going to pick Sunday in this example. We're going to turn on the time and we're going to pick 9 a.m. Now, for some reason, this didn't capture the repeat function, but what you actually want to do is hit the repeat button right there, and then you want to be able to select which option that you want for it to repeat, and in this case, select weekly. And now with the repeat function on, we're going to scroll down to subtasks. We're going to enter the 5 subtasks that we want to keep track of while we're doing this review. Now that we have this all set up and ready to repeat, the last thing is to move this particular reminder out of our inbox into one of our more permanent locations. In this case, I'm going to move it over to my personal list, and that's what we're doing here. So now the inbox is clear. And if I come under personal, we still have the repeating reminder there. Now, every Sunday at 9 a.m., you're going to get a reminder with your weekly review checklist. When it pops up, you're going to open it and you're going to work through each subtask. An important step to remember here is when you're done with your checklist, you actually want to complete the top task, which is the weekly review. You don't want to complete each individual subtask. The reason why is Apple has a limitation with reminders where these subtasks will not repeat week over week if they're completed. The only way to get the list to show up is if you complete the top task only. Doing it this way is helpful for 2 reasons. One, you're going to be able to see your progress as you go through your review. The second part is you get to control the pace. If one of these steps takes you a little bit longer than the other, that's okay, as long as you get them all done. Now, here's the bonus tip that I promised you at the beginning of this video. If you do your weekly review on a Mac, I have a special automation for you. If you're only on the iPhone, that's okay. You could potentially still use this automation. However, having the additional screen room on a Mac makes this a bit more effective because you can have multiple windows open at the same time. So for this, we're going to create a time block automation. To get started during your weekly review, let's make sure you have calendars and reminders both open and you want them side by side. By running this shortcut, it's going to add the time blocks for you. Let me show you how to build it. By now, you've guessed it, we're going to create a new shortcut. So for this one, we're going to start it off just like the other ones, but we're actually going to do an ask for input 3 times to get started. So with our first one, we're going to bring this one and drag it over. And for the prompt, we're going to ask, what are we working on? This one, hit the right arrow, drop this down. We're going to turn off allow multiple lines this time. So again, we add our next ask for input and drag that one over. Now this time, instead of text, we want to switch this one to number. And for our prompt, we want to ask, how long is this going to take? Now, I like to turn off allow negative numbers, but keep allow decimals on in the event you want to use that later on to do, let's say, 0.5 for half an hour. So we add our third one over, and for this time, we want to switch this one instead of text. We want to move this one over to date and time. And for our prompt, we're going to ask, when do we want to start? And for this next part, you want to bring over a calculate action. So drag that over. Now, right in the middle of this one, you're going to see a plus button. So go ahead and click that. And you want to go down to the multiply. It looks like an X. And for number, you're going to type in 3,600. The reason why we're doing that is, believe it or not, in an hour, there's 3,600 seconds. So now you're going to go into the beginning of that, clear it out. And with that clear, we're going to go all the way to the bottom of the screen and hit select variable. And that's going to bring up a different property under all of these boxes and expand it to make sure we can pick the exact one that we want. So in this case, we want this middle one under number to add to our calculation. And next, we're going to go back to the search and do an adjust date. Okay, with our adjust date, we're going to now do something very similar. We're going to hit our 0 and we're going to select our variable to expand it again. And in this point, we want the one from the calculation result. So you'll see that line pop up to show that those are connected. And now we're going to go to the date side and we're going to do similar things, select our variable. And now we're going to go to the input that's right below our ask for the date and select that one. So now we go back to our search actions and we're going to search for calendar. And now we're going to drag over a new calendar event. Now this one, we want to title this based off of what we put in the beginning. So we click on title, select our variable, and we're going to go all the way up to the top and we're going to pick that ask for input under that one. And from our from field, again, just showing a different way to do this, but we're going to select the variable again to expand it, and we're going to pick our date and time input. So let's click that one. And for the 2, we're going to click this. We'll select our variable. And now we want to pick our one that is our adjusted date. Hit the arrow to the right of that, and we're going to turn off the show compose sheet, as well as you pick whichever calendar that you want this to pop up under. Now come to the top, rename this one to time block. Change whatever color and icon that you want for this one. I'm going to pick the calendar one here that has a little clock next to it. And for this one, if you're on a Mac, after you create it, you want to right click and add this to your dock. And to get this one going, we're going to have calendar on the left side of the screen, as well as our reminders on the right. After you have that set up, you want to go ahead to the bottom of the screen here and launch your shortcut from the dock. Now, when it asks, what are we working on? Let's type in write presentation. It's going to ask us how many hours we need. So let's just say 2. And for when do we want to start? Let's pick tomorrow at 10 o'clock a.m. And now we're going to tap done. Let's head over to our calendar and look. And there we have it, a 2-hour block at 10 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. And now you can run this shortcut for each important task. What this does is make sure you're not switching back and forth between apps. You're just time blocking one after another. All right, so we're gonna bring this one all together. In part 1, we learned about the foundation. In this video, you learn how to make that even more powerful with the use of automations, a weekly review, and blocking out your time for tasks. Now in part 3, we're gonna add a few more things to this by using a journal for reflection and freeform for visual thinking to see how everything's connected. Here's what I need you to do now. Make sure you build those shortcuts, Start with quick capture, add it to your home screen, and use it every day. Then I want you to do a weekly review this Sunday. Pick 30 minutes, follow the list, and plan your week. For those of you on the Mac, try that quick focus block during your weekly review. If this was helpful, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so that way you don't miss part 3, and drop a comment with which shortcut you're building first, and I'll see you in the next one.